Shoemate, and then Sister Matthews, Tiffany Matthews will speak to us, and then Brother Matthews will be our concluding speaker.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. My name is Matthew Shoemate. I am the son of John and Melon Shoemate, and today I've been asked to talk to you about ministering. Now, when many people talk or hear about ministering, they think of ministering as this big, grand ordeal or something that they need to really take charge of and get involved into people's lives and try and help others and make them come closer to Christ. But I think that ministering isn't something that we should make. It's not something that we should force upon others. It's more something that we should take part in order to bring people to Christ. Sister Jean B. Bingham, in her talk, Ministering as the Savior Does, in the Enzyme on May 2018, said, "Sometimes we think we have to do something grand and heroic to count as serving our neighbors, yet simple acts of service can have profound effects on others as well as ourselves." I think this really is a great example of what I'm trying to get at here. And a great example in my life that I found is when my own brother decided to serve a mission. My whole life, he kind of told me that he really wasn't going to serve a mission. He really felt that it wasn't necessary, and that in his own experiences, serving a mission was something that people did because their parents thought they should do it, and it was something that was kind of forced. However, when he started going to the YSA ward, when he got into college, that first semester before he left, he kind of had this sudden change. I mean, it's not that it was sudden, it's that all of a sudden, there I am saying sudden again. It's more that he wasn't questioning going on a mission anymore. He took it upon himself to kind of decide and to actually go, and that was such a big change that I had never seen before. And I think that it was not something that I did, it wasn't something that my parents did, because they had just kind of given up, in my opinion. It was something that his friends did for him. It was something that the people in his ward did for him. He would go and he would just experience it by himself, and that was something that allowed him to feel more connected than he ever had before. He didn't have someone forcing him. He didn't have someone telling him. He had people bringing him by inviting him through their words. And I think that that's just something that most of us really never think about. And so I really think ministry isn't more of a work as it is an idea. It's an idea of being just who you are and just acting as you would any other member of God's church. And it's not something that is a big grand ordeal. Another example that I found in my life is this sweet family over here. Eli Huffman always brings cookies over to us, and I just love their cowboy cookies. They're really nice to have. They make them with this kind of oatmeal and other things, but it kind of helps me to know that these small acts are of Christ and are what Christ wants us to think about when we think about ministering. Something that I experienced recently in seminary is when I was actually reading in John, and John doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with ministering, but what I'm talking about specifically is in John 7. And this is when it talks about the woman who was caught in adultery. And when Jesus confronted her, or when Jesus stoops down and talked to these men that were like basically going to stone her to death because it was the law of Moses to do that. He said, whosoever hath, I don't have the exact, wait, let me find it. He basically was saying that whosoever hath the first stone, whosoever that hath be free of sin, let him cast the first stone. And he's basically trying to get at that we can't judge others for something that is a simple sin or something that is, something that we should really stop attacking them for. It's just the simple fact that judgment isn't something that we should take part in our life. And it really made me feel that I was someone who was full of judgment myself. I had judged my brother because he didn't want to go on a mission. And as he took that step to feel the ministering of other people, as he took that step to kind of take charge in his own life instead of letting other people take charge in his, I kind of lost this judgment that I didn't know I had been feeling. And when that happened, I kind of felt the ministering in my own life, and I felt my own brother's ministering because he was also bringing me to Christ as others was. And I feel like this is a really great example of the chain of ministering. And as you bring others to Christ and as you take part in ministering, which is really just coming to Christ, you also bring others to Christ. And I just like to bear my testimony that I really do know that this church is true, and that as we do ministering and as we come closer to Christ, we also take part in bringing others and changing this world for the better. And I would just like to say that I love what this church does, the values that it has, and how it's changing me and my life. And I say these things in Jesus' name.
He never even told us who was speaking today.
Good morning, brothers and sisters.
That was off the top of
A
his
lot of you don't know.
I you probably read this
It's
morning.
a change, but even though we've been here
really
for nearly 23 years in this ward, a lot of you don't know us. We are